All right, let's continue with chapter 4. Chapter 4, verse 7. All right. Remember, we have Cain and Abel who have brought both offerings. The Lord is not interested in looking at Cain's, is accepting of Abel's. Let's think about this too. How did he accept it? How did they know? You know, that's always a thought. I go straight to Leviticus 10, which talks about that the lightning came, the Lord just came up and took the offering. How cool is that? I believe that's what happened in Genesis 3 when the offering was, or when the Lord took the animal and gave the skins. I believe that this is how it worked too. I think the Lord, they knew whether or not it was accepted by, did the Lord respond? Wow, could you imagine standing there and lightning hits and takes up your offering, and then you just stand there, doo, 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 there's no lightning. The Lord is not accepting it. I mean, he knows immediately there's something wrong, right? So let's look at verse 7. It's not if you do good. Now it says, is it not if you do good, you are to be accepted? And if you do not do good, towards the door is sin. He is lying, and towards you is his desire, and you must rule over him. Wow. Doesn't this take your thoughts back to the tree, the desires, right? The whole idea of the desires to be met when they ate of the tree of good and evil. Do y'all remember that? We talked about that. That it was desirable. That was in 3:6. It was desirable to them to make them wise. Well, here we have Cain, and he's fighting inside with the desire. I mean, what he wants and what the Lord wants. And who does he want to serve? What master? Because again, we're born in a sinful nature. We're born in a fallen nature. Well, Cain's born in a fallen nature. What do I want to serve? Who do I want to serve? You know, think about it. We are to forgive our brothers, right? We know this. If we forgive others, then the Lord can forgive us. Well, if he's in a position right now, as we discussed last time, of not forgiving his brother, it's making it more difficult for him to really, it's clouding his vision. How's that? There's pride getting in the way. Pride is interfering with how he should respond to the Lord. Because, wow, the living God says, hey, you're not doing it right. If you just will bring it this way, I'd love to accept it, right? Just do good. Good and evil. Remember the tree? Choose good. Cain, choose good. If you don't, then sin's desire, death's desire longs for you. It is another at the tree moment. It's his mama's moment. Here you go. You know, they say that every, how do I want to say this? Generational curses, generational blessings, that sin knocks on the doors of every child. The sin of the parents, let's put it this way, knocks on the doors of the children. And whether or not you want to accept it is where it becomes your reaction. Example, let's say a family has alcoholism in it, heavy alcoholism. That spirit of alcoholism is going to knock on your door. Let's say your dad's an alcoholic. It knocks on your door. You don't have to answer the door and follow in the sinful footsteps of being drunk. But you can. But the challenge that came to that generation before you is going to be brought to you too. Each of these challenges come to every generation. That's why when Messiah is addressed with it through the line, right, through the same line of Adam, when he's addressed with it, he does not fall prey to the desire of the tree. He only desires to do good because he knows. This is, his job is to be the second Adam, to restore us back to life. So, again, Cain is brought to this, do good, do bad. Which one do I want? What do I want to eat? How do I want to respond to the Lord? How do I want to respond to my brother? So where it says here, he is lying towards you with his desire, and you must rule over him. Again, be overcomers. You know, even when Jesus, he says to be overcomers, there's so much involved in that. A part of that is literally just denying our flesh, just telling, no, I'm not going to do the evil desire. I'm not going to do it. That's a part of being an overcomer too. When Jesus walked on earth, he did that all the time. He had to say no to that. he was an overcomer. Now there's even more to it, obviously, because he overcame death, and we too will do that through having the Torah and the witness of Messiah. Those two things, right? Revelation talks about that. All right. So, I want to talk about a spiritual, God, this is going to kind of be really big, but let's also talk about these spiritual portals. You know, eating of the tree allowed Satan's ability to interact with the earth. Remember, from that came the curse on the ground, the cattle, everything in life, everything on the earth, because Adam was given dominion over all of it. When the king sinned, it came down on everyone. When Jesus didn't sin, died, rose again, right, and defeated death, that goes on all of those who walk in him, who become part of his body. They too will defeat death because there's nothing to hold on to, right? Because what he did. All right. So there's a portal. Sin, when we sin, we open the door to the desires of the bad fruit. There are spiritual entities out there in the world, and they're looking for portals. So let's just use the example of horror movies. When you watch a horror movie, you're permitting it inside. And when you permit it inside, you're literally opening a portal that will allow the spirit of fear, of a lot of other things, into your life. You're giving it permission to be there because you're giving it a pathway in. And that's exactly what's happening right here. The Lord is warning him, hey, don't let there be a pathway in. Here's another somewhat example. When Jesus, before his being delivered over to the Romans, when they're praying in the Garden of Gethsemane, he says, Peter, if only you could stay awake and pray, you would be able to resist the temptation at hand. But Peter doesn't stay awake and pray. He falls asleep. And guess what? He falls to the temptation. So it's, again, kind of the same understanding of prepare so that you respond properly. The Lord is giving him the ability to prepare so that your response is proper. He's told what to do. And he's even told it's sitting right there. That sin, that desire wants to flourish through you. That evil wants to experience life through you. And so he tells them, rule over it. So let's look at verse 8. And Cain told Abel his brother, and it came to be when they were in the field that Cain rose up against Abel his brother and killed him. Isn't that interesting? It says he told him. So what did he tell him? We don't know. It's very possible that he told him about this encounter with the Lord. He made a choice to not follow it. Or did he? Here's what we don't know. Did he at that moment say, okay, fine, and give the proper offering? Because this is a little bit later. But if that's the case, that he did do it, then he still harbored something inside because he still gets led into killing his brother. We don't know how much time is in between this. We don't know if it's that same day. We don't know if it's a week later. We don't know any of this. Is Cain only mad because Abel's offering was accepted? Or is Cain mad about something previous that had happened that we don't know about, a disagreement or something, and he pridefully won't dismiss it, whereas maybe his brother did? I really lean towards that unforgiveness part because it ties with the end of chapter 4. So he goes and he decides, he tells his brother, and then we see that he kills him, right? We literally see that he kills him. He rose up against Abel, his brother, and killed him. Now, I think the story usually is that he hit him in the head with a rock in the field. I like that one. I'm not really sure where that comes from, but that's the way I see it in my head. I guess because he rose up and he's in the field. Now, let me ask you this. Who works in the field? Well, they kind of both do, right? Cain works the land. and Abel is in the field with his sheep. So when it says that Cain told Abel his brother, and it came to be, that tells you that he told him, and then it came to be. It happened later. And when they were in the field, so they're both in the field. Who knows? I mean, wouldn't it be interesting? Cain's working the field, he's toiling, and here comes his brother with the sheep. I don't know. I mean, is shepherding harder work than tilling the ground? I don't know. There's so many different things to think about. I love it. I love it. I love the Word of God. So we have right here, again, end of days. You know, we talked about earlier in verse 4:3 where it says the course of time, kind of pointing towards the end of days. I'm going to link it with this. In the end of days, it says that men's hearts will grow cold, right? Will hate each other. Well, here we go, back with those bookends, all right? Here we have Cain who's hating his brother. Well, in the end, we're going to have that. We're going to have the brothers hating each other, right? Some that are forgiving and some that are hating. There's your Abel and there's your Cain. But Cain's hatred takes over and he just wants to kill. Not just wants to, he does kill. Again, in the end times, we see that. Those who have the inner hatred, they're going to kill and want to kill those who don't. They want to kill those who stand in one with the Lord, those whose offerings are accepted, who have a good relationship with the living God. They want to kill them. There is a jealousy, there is an anger because theirs wasn't accepted, because their lifestyle wasn't accepted. Because why? Because they chose to not follow the instructions given. It's really that simple. It's that simple. It's kind of like skiing. You're going to water ski behind a boat. And they tell you, take your skis, put them up above the water, and you need to do it vertically, okay? And then they give you the exact instructions of how to do it. You get out there and you keep setting your skis, instead of being vertical, you put them horizontal. You keep laying them down. And they start that engine and you just fall flat on your face every time. Then your friend gets up, goes out, puts them up vertically. The skis go right up and they're right up and they have a great time skiing. You get back in the water, you do yours, and now you think, okay, I'll turn it a little bit. But you still don't put them in the position they need. They start that boat and you just face plant right into the water and you just get banged up. And all you are is mad at the boat driver. You're not paying attention that you're not doing it right. So the result of not doing it right is you're getting beat up in life. That's what's happening. Because you're not doing what you know to do to get up on the skis. All you got to do is go put your skis up vertically, and then you'll be pulled right up. It's kind of the same idea right here. Cain knows what to do and chooses not to. Abel knows what to do and chooses to. Good fruit, bad fruit. All right? And then the bad fruit decides, I don't like the fact that you even exist because you're doing it right, and takes them out. Again, things we see at the end of time. Actually, I'd say things we see today, right? All right, let's look at verse 9. And Yahweh said to Cain, where's Abel, your brother? And he said, I do not know. Am I my brother's guard? Do you remember what his father, Abel, do you remember his father Adam's job was to guard, wasn't it? And then he became a tiller. Well, here we have Cain, who is tilling the ground. And now he's like, am I supposed to guard? Yes. Yes, we actually are supposed to. If we love our brother, then we tell them the truth. We take care of them. According to the word, we follow that in love. So yes, Cain actually is supposed to not have to know where he is at all times. But that's not what God's asking. God didn't say, Apho, where is your brother? I can't find him. He said, something's wrong. Something's amiss. The same type of question he asked in Genesis 3 when he asked Adam and Eve, where are you? What happened? There's something amiss. So the same thing. Where's your brother? There's something amiss. Where is he? What's going on? And Cain's response is, I don't know. It's not my problem. Why do we think we can hide things from the living God? Why do we think we can hide things from ourselves, when in all honesty, we can't. It's going to come back and bite us. Either way, we might as well just be very honest with our Creator. Yet, again, a portal, he's let this in, he's just murdered, and now he's like, well, I don't know. So let's look. He then says, and he said, what have you done? Not, okay, where is he? But what have you done? You didn't guard your brother. Adam, you didn't guard the tree. When Adam didn't guard the tree, you know what else he didn't guard? He didn't guard mankind. He didn't guard his brother, his children. He didn't guard us. When Abel committed murder, guess what he didn't do? He didn't guard his brother. He's following in the same steps that Adam fell into. But Cain, praise God, Abel is able to kind of, I guess, do the positive. We have the evil and the good playing out. We get to see. And sometimes you think, well, it's not fair. The bad killed the good. And when the Lord says, what have you done? The voice of your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground. That's amazing. The voice of your brother's blood. So, our blood cries out, because remember, blood is life. Abel's actual life that was in the blood called out because our blood was never meant to be spilled. It was never meant to die. However, because of the fall, there was a death. Remember what happened? Adam and Eve fell, and then we have what? We have the probably sheep, lamb, whatever, that the Lord took so that he could clothe them, right? Well, here we have the second murder. The first murder, right? Satan allowed man to die by giving, well, I shouldn't say Satan allowed. Adam took on death, murdered mankind in a way, okay, by eating the apple. Here, Cain does the physical murder, and there's a death. Death came the first time with that lamb, and now we see it again because he's a shepherd, right? So it's kind of similar. Anyway, just something to think about. I want to read real quick, though, in Hebrews 12. Hebrews 12, I'm going to draw, let's see, verse 24. It says, and Yeshua, and Jesus, the mediator of a new covenant, or a renewed covenant, to the blood of the sprinkling which speaks better than the blood of Abel. It talks about the blood of Abel. We have an example here of Messiah. The first person's blood that was spilled is considered the one who's obedient to the living God. He was fully obedient, and he's shepherding. Well, Yeshua comes and he's shepherding. I mean, he's bringing in people, right? And he dies. His blood is shed. Abel was not married. There was no generations that came from him. So it says that the voice of his brother's blood cries out. All the generations that would have been cried out. Then you have Messiah. It says that his blood is even better, because when his blood, but you know what that means? His blood is also crying out. His blood's crying out to the Father. In Revelation 6, it talks about the martyrs who are underneath the altar, who are crying out for the Lord to revenge their deaths. Revenge their deaths. Now, in that, it talks about those who have died since Messiah came and rose again. But Abel's blood also would need to be accounted for, revenged, and justified. And I love the fact that it is because it's counted by the Lord as a representation of the shedding of blood by being murdered. And that's exactly what happens with Messiah. He dies on the earthly side. He's murdered, and his blood is shed for us. All right, so let's end on that. We will come back and look at what happens after this. What's the consequence of that terrible sin? First murder, second murder. And I say second murder because we had sin that came in, and now sin is taking more and more of a toll on mankind. All right, see you soon. Thanks for sharing. We went a little long, but I'll try to do better. Bye.